important is that it keeps our names high, so we can perform without being afraid of being judged, because our name is displayed on the screen. And also because it allows us to have a proper space for each of you to practice with the different activities. That's why I really love this platform to teach writing. So we got it. Let me just share the screen and make sure that I'm sharing the computers now. So I will share my whole screen so it's easier. Just go back here.
Hi everyone, welcome to I Speak English. My name's Haley and I'm in English as a foreign language teacher. I've been teaching online for the past 3 years. Start a lesson, okay? So you won't be able to see any of this happening. Your teacher's just going to do this on their own.
Here we are.
Or they're going to send you to this website and give you this code. So let's say I've sent you a link, or I've put a link on Google Classroom and you have to go to that link.
You already have that link in your chat box.
So let's take a look from your point of view. Now you're going to click this link, or you're going to copy and paste it. And that will add you into the presentation. Now, it's going to come up, it's going to show like this. You don't have to do this, you can just skip it. And basically, it's going to show you what your teacher has on their screen. Okay, so you'll only be able to see this. And then your teacher is going to start the class. So every time your teacher goes through another slide, it's going to change on your side as well. So if we make these into separate windows here. Okay, so this is my teacher side on the left, and this is your side on the right. So every time the teacher goes through a slide, it's going to come up for you a bit differently. So you're going to be able to answer a question to this. So if I make this full screen, this is what your screen's going to look like now, and you have to answer this question. So let's say we're doing story writing. So when you write a story, you need to ask yourself 5 words, which are who, where, what, why, and when. So you can enter that response there. Okay, so now let's go back. So now your teacher is going to be able to see your responses. And they're going to be able to see the responses of everyone else in the class. Okay, so they're going to keep going through the presentation. And they're going to be teaching as you go. So every time down here it says answer question, you can click on it. And then you can answer the question that's been asked. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so maybe there might be a multiple choice question. So choose which words are wow words. So we know that wow words are really interesting adjectives or verbs or adverbs. So it's going to be this one. Okay, and then again. So your teacher can now see your responses. You won't be able to see your teacher's slide. You're just going to be able to see your own slide. Okay, so we're going to keep going through, and they're going to ask some multiple choice questions. Okay, and then maybe they might ask you to draw something as well. So you can just draw, let's draw a mountain on here. It's my terrible mountain. And you can type some text. Okay, let's add some more text.
Those are basically the steps that you follow in order to participate with Third Deck. So there is a link for those that came a little bit late. I will share it again. And let me see. Welcome, Susana. I see that Jose Maria is also posting his name here in chat. Jorge, Marianela. So there you go. Again, the link. I already have my student's version in another web browser. So here we are. Just let me make sure that everything's okay. Good. So as I said, welcome to workshop 2, sentence error. That's what we are going to be reviewing today. You have been working really hard. I have been also posting additional exercises in the forum. I really appreciate the time that you take to take those quizzes, to post your results and to share them with the group. I really appreciate that. It also gives you a chance for you to put into practice what you have been reading and monitor to what extent you have understood the topics. Well, you know, there are certain rules that we must follow. You are already familiar with them. And well, as I said, I really praise respect here in our class. So let's continue. And this is our agenda. So we already have the welcome. There is a space for you to ask a question or any doubt regarding the material, the contents, the videos. And if you have questions regarding the evaluated activities or the upcoming evaluated activities, you can let them know at the end, okay? And then if there are no questions, we're going to go with the getting started. Then we have 2 main activities for this workshop. And then we are going to have the concluding stage with a couple of reminders and a couple of additional information. So let's move on. And this is the getting started. We are going to complete a quiz. So we are going to check how much you have understood the topics. I know that you have been working a lot on tests, but it is important to make sure that you know the basics on how to write sentences, on what type of sentences do we have in English, because this is the main material that you are going to need in order to write paragraph and later on essays. Another important thing is that before we move on, we must have clear what a paragraph is and what an essay is, because I have been checking your assignments and I have found very peculiar paragraphs. So if there is any question regarding the structure of a paragraph, let me know right now before taking the quiz. Is there a question? Oh, we are doing fine. Give me a moment. So, do we have questions regarding a paragraph, an essay, how many lines you must have? Well, we are doing fine. Well, I bet silence means that there are no questions. So here we have the link for the quiz that you are going to take. I will have the teacher's mode. There you go. And you will have to take it, and I will see your participation in another window that I will open in a couple of minutes. So make sure you type your name. You can also type the alias that you have, but still I think I will be able to see your name. So I know that my alias here is, I think it was a donkey what appears on the screen. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to see your name, because I forgot to check that one, but still, please answer the quiz. I will also open here this, and I have them right here. So I'm going to start seeing your answers, and this is what I have. You must identify the error in the sentences. You have to identify if it is a lack of subject-verb agreement, if it is a fragment, if it is a run-on sentence, a comma splice, if it is a lack of parallelism, a misplaced modifier, a dangling modifier, a distracting shift, a choppy sentence, or a stringent sentence. That's what you have to do per sentence. Same here. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So those are 10 sentences that need to be corrected. Not corrected per se, but of course you must identify which is the error in each of them. So right now I don't see answers yet. So you will have 5 minutes, and I will start counting those 5 minutes so that you can start working on this. 5 minutes to answer. I know that it's not that much time, but I know that you can make it because you are very familiar with those topics and those kind of errors in sentences. So go.
Okay.
So meanwhile, I will check attendance because I like to have backup of your attendance. And if just to avoid that you feel the pressure, I will just change screen so that you can start answering freely without the pressure of being or seeing your answers there. Okay, so meanwhile, I will see who are the new students that have joined us. I see Miguel Eduardo, also Susana, welcome, Juan Carlos. So there. So we're not going to show you results yet. Let's go to the chat to see. Remember that if you have an issue with your microphone, with your camera, especially with your microphone, if you want to participate, do not hesitate to write your answers or your participation in the chat box, because I will be able to see it. I'm still waiting for answers. Is it something wrong with the link? please let me know if you need additional time.
Yes, please. Just a couple of minutes more.
Okay. set the timer to get so that you are going to get 5 additional minutes to complete the quiz. Okay, so 5 additional minutes over. Do we still have questions without answers? Well, sentences without correcting or identifying the mistakes. Okay, I see 3 answers. Okay. Okay, so we are going to check the answers. If you are still completing them, don't worry. You can submit your answers still. So let me share again the screen. Okay, so here we are. We have only 3 participants. Now we have their names of students who participated. Okay, so here we are. Identify the error. Jack's first days in the infantry was grueling. What is the correct answer? The lack of subject-verb agreement, and that is correct. Okay, good. So there is where. There one Greek island that should not be missed is Mykonos, a vacation spot for European and a playground for the rich and famous. Exactly, that is a fragment. And we can find the fragment right here. Then we move on. Sorry. Identify another error. Crossing so many times zones on an 80-hour flight. I knew I would be tired when I arrived. However, I was too excited to sleep on the plane. Yes, the correct answer is a comma splice. It is right here. Okay, so let's continue. Another error. Yes? And we also have here the same sentence. Crossing so many time zones on an 8-hour flight, I knew it would be tired when I arrived. However, I was too excited to sleep on the plane. And there we have a pronoun sentence issue. Good. Let's see, identify the error in the following. Rowena began her workday by pouring a cup of coffee and checked her email. Well, I drink water and check my email. Okay, we have lack of parallelism. Yes, pouring and checking her email. Upon entering the doctor's office, a skeleton caught my attention. Dangling modifier. You will see later how to fix it. The waiter presented a steak to the guest that was medium rare. That was medium rare, and this is a misplaced modifier. We continue. Identify the error in the following sentence. The scarlet letter is a punishment sturdily placed on Hester's breath by the community, and yet it was a fanciful and imaginative product of Hester's own needlework. Yes, we have a distracting shift. And then we have vegetables are good for you. Vegetables taste good. Vegetables are easy to prepare. A choppy sentence. One sentence after another, and period. That is a choppy sentence structure. Here we are. Identify the error in the following sentence. The boys were excited, so they made a lot of mistakes. So the project was a complete failure in the end, so the teacher gave them a D. The stringy sentence, that's right. So we have to review stringy sentence, chopping not that much, distracted shift, misplaced modifier. Yeah, dangling modifier will have to be reviewed. Lack of parallelism, well doing fine. Run-on sentences are good. Home splice should be checked. Fragments. Subject and verb agreement is almost understood. Okay, so we move on to our presentation because right now we are going to see some of those answers in some of those sentences here. So what are we going to do here? We are going to edit the sentence to eliminate the problems with subject-verb agreement. And if a sentence it is correct, we are going just writing correct next to the sentence. So let's do it. And by the way, check here. Just give me a second because I was using this. Okay, so you can use the text. You can just write what is the word that can help us to reach the subject-verb agreement that we need in this sentence. And you just type if one of those sentences is correct or not. So this is what we are going to do. I'm not going to answer right now because I want you to answer by yourself. I have 6 students online in Verdeck because I can check that. But I don't know which are their names yet. I will check that later. And there it says that there is 1 of 6 responses, so it means that I'm waiting for your responses. So one of the main reasons for elephant poaching are the profits received from selling the ivory stocks. A number of students in the seminar was aware of the importance of joining the discussion. And the board of directors, ignoring the wishes of the neighborhood, has voted to allow further development. So there you have it. One of these 3 sentences is correct, doesn't have to be fixed. And 2 of them have a problem with subject-verb agreement. So identify which sentences are correct and fix the 2 that have the issues with the subject-verb agreement. Let's see, we have 2 responses. Okay, we're going to see one of those responses right now. This is my response, I guess. Yes, that is correct. 1 is our subject, and we have are. That is not subject-verb agreement. 1 and is makes an agreement with the subject and the verb. Okay, let's see the second sentence. I'm going to hide responses. A number of students in the seminar was aware of the importance of joining the discussion. So, first thing, identifying who's the subject. Once that you have the subject, you can check if the verb agrees in number. So we already know that is should be here. And a number of students in the seminar was aware of the importance of joining the discussion. So what do you think about that one? We have 4 answers of 8. Is. Number 2 or number 3 is the one that is correct. I wouldn't say that number 2 is correct. A number of students. I will go back and check if somebody has. Not yet. Not yet. Okay. A number of students were aware. You have plural, students. What do you think about the last one? Is it correct or incorrect? Letter C, that means it is correct. So this is what you're supposed to have. First one, we have issues. 1 and is. A number of students. The students were aware of the importance. B, the board of directors has voted to allow further development. And if you remove the information which is between the commas, your sentence still has a meaning. That is something that we know as a positive. So let's move on. I see where is. Here we don't need had. We are just fine with the board of directors, which is our subject. And has, which is the verb, has voted, which is the verb of our sentence. And this is the information between commas is something that we call a positive. And if we remove it from our sentence still has a complete meaning. Good. Okay, perfect then. Here, so let me hide responses. Okay, so let's continue. So, another thing before moving on. Subject-verb agreement, do you have a clear understanding of what type of mistakes we are going to identify with this category?
I understood that we have that kind of error if we can't identify if the subject is plural or singular, something like that.
Yes, exactly. It has to do with the number of our subject and how we are going to conjugate the verb. So there must be an agreement in terms of having a subject in singular and a verb that is conjugated in singular. And the other way around, when you have a plural subject. And it is a bit confusing when you have expressions such as one of the main reasons, a number of students, the board of directors. Thank you. So let's see, fragments. In here, we are going to repair any fragment by attaching it to a nervy sentence or by rewriting it as a complete sentence. If a group of words is correct, write correct after it. So there you have. Listening to the CD, persisted had sent. Mia was overcome with a mix of emotions, happiness, homesickness, and nostalgia. Although my spoken English is not very good, I can read the language with ease. There are several reasons for not eating meat. One reason being that dangerous chemicals are used throughout the various stages of meat production, and to learn how to spot beauty from everyday life. This is my intention in studying art and archaeology. So we have no responses yet. Let's stop sharing for a moment. Okay, so continue working and answering and fixing those fragments. Don't worry, it is not necessary to write the whole sentence, but just identifying the fragment and the correction that you are going to present in order to correct that fragment. And if you want, I can give you additional help in the chat with these group of sentences. I will paste them in the chat so it will be easier for all of you to just copy and paste the sentence. So in the chat box, you will see the sentences. So you just copy and paste the sentence, and you can easily edit it in Perdeck. Let's see, we have 5 responses. Okay. Okay, how about it? Right, let's see. Check the first one. Mia was overcome with a mix of emotions: happiness, homesickness, and nostalgia. We fixed the fragment and we made it part of our sentence. Mia was overcome with a mix of emotions. We are using colons here: happiness, homesickness, and nostalgia. And the dot which is missing right here. So let's continue. Almost there. No, first one is not correct. Now let's check number 2. Although my spoken Spanish is not very good, I can read the language with ease. Easy to fix. We just add a comma right here. Nice done. Nicely done. Number 3, there are several reasons for not eating meat. One reason is that dangerous chemicals are used throughout the various stages of meat production. Nicely done. We are just adding a verb in order to make a sentence and correct the fragment. Now we still are waiting for question 4. For sentence 4. Okay, there's a deleted response. So let's see what is going on in here. Number 4. Maybe somebody else. We are still not having answer for that one. Okay. But let's check this one. To learn how to sculpt beauty from everyday life is my intention in studying art and archaeology. Basically, at the very beginning, we do not have a sentence. So, which means that we are lacking a verb. And if we delete the period and this, we will have a verb right next to the fragment that we have at the very beginning of this sentence. So, what is a fragment? Now that you have seen the exercises, that you have seen some of the answers for this exercise, what a fragment is. So there's not a clear picture of what a fragment is. Okay, let's show the responses. And we are going to see what are those fragments. A fragment is a group of words that might look like a sentence. Or it could be just a simple list, as we have in the first sentence right here. What else we can have here as an example of fragment? Here we have subordinate clause because we have all them. So when we have subordinated clauses, we separate them with commas, not with periods. That's why it's a fragment with a subordinated sentence. And we have it right here. On number 3, what is the issue on number 3? We are lacking a verb. And sometimes with fragments, we get confused with expressions such as not eating or being as the sentence, as the verb in the sentence. So basically, a fragment is a group of words that look like a sentence, but we must identify if they have a subject, a verb, and as I said, we can get easily confused with expressions like walking, or not eating, being, because we got confused and start thinking, that is the verb of the sentence. But no, those are gerunds acting sometimes as subject of the sentence, or also known as verbs. Let's see if we have more responses. Delete them. Okay. Let me hide them. So please keep that in mind. Fragments, sentences, a bunch of words that look like a sentence, but they are not a sentence. And there is also in the material a diagram that will help you to assess whether a sentence is an actual sentence or it is a fragment. We also have another category of sentences, of sentence errors, which is run-on sentences and comma splices. Okay, so I need a student who tell me what a run sentence is and what a comma splice is.
Sentence is independent clause, but that independent clause is not being joined correctly.
Okay, thank you. So according to the material, we have two types. One of them is when there are no marks of punctuation and there are no coordinating conjunctions between the independent clauses. So we have something that is called fused sentence. And we have another one, which is the common one, the comma splice. And also in your material, there is another diagram that can help you to identify these kind of issues in a sentence, if it is a run-on or a comma splice. So in order to correct a run-on sentence, we can use a comma and a coordinating conjunction. And I'm going to stop here and I'm going to ask, which are the coordinating conjunctions? Who can mention them? Oh, and by the way, meanwhile, you can start answering.
Are there words that join the sentences? So, and, but, or, nor, yet, for example.
You can remember them by the acronym of fanboys. So it is easy to keep them in mind. So the famous fanboys. F for, A for N for nor, B for but, O for or, Y for yet, and S for so. Fanboys. Easy to remember them. So those are the coordinating conjunctions. So we use a comma and a coordinating conjunction. We can also correct them by using a semicolon. That semicolon can be used alone in the sentence, or we can also use it with a transitional expression. You can make the clause into a separate sentence, or you can structure the sentence and, well, you can consider restructuring that sentences and turning it into a subordinating clause. So let's see how we're doing. We only have one response here. Okay, I'm going to hide it. So what do you think about number one? Do we have a run-on sentence or a comma splice taking place in that sentence? Or it is correct?
Maybe it's a comma splice.
And how would you fix it?
Just adding a semicolon.
You want just a semicolon, okay. So it's like wind power from the home is a supplementary source of energy, semicolon. It can be combined with electricity, gas, or solar energy. Okay. It is a really acceptable correction. Thank you. Let me see who's this student. I'm still struggling trying to learn your names. Juan Carlos, I think. Okay, so that's right. We can fix this one by adding a semicolon. What about number two? By the way, if you are correcting them, you can add the answers in your slides so that we can see that you are working on these exercise. Aidan viewed Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation 3 times and then wrote a paper describing the film as the work of a mysterious modern painter. What do we have there? Do we have a comma splice or a run-on sentence?
A run-on sentence.
A run-on sentence. And how do we fix a run-on sentence based on our material?
I think 3 times, comma, and.
So you think that you can just add a comma there?
Or maybe, and then, comma, she wrote a paper.
So we have two possible options here, as you said, Juan Carlos. Adding a comma could fix it.
To be honest, I'm really confused.
Don't worry. Okay, so we have Aidan viewed Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation 3 times and then wrote a paper describing the film as the work of a mysterious painter, right? So that one is correct, actually. And sometimes we get confused with expressions like then, because we think first comma, second comma, with the structure of giving the steps or instructions to people, right? That we write first, then we add a comma, and then we write the whole instruction. 2 or second, and then we have, instead of saying 3 or the third step, we go to then. Well, when we have then, we do not use a comma. So this one is correct. Aidan viewed Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation 3 times and then wrote a paper describing the film. So this one, number 2, is correct. So if someone is fixing it, a period, it can be combined. So it can be, we can also set that can be combined and delete the comma on the number 1. Here on number 2, we can say that it's correct. But number 3, so here we can fix it with that. We can also add a semicolon instead. And we delete the comma if we use that. And we crossed it. Second, it's correct, right? What about number 3? In the Middle Ages, the streets of London were dangerous places. It was safer to travel by boat along the Thames. That is a famous river in England. What do you think we have there? A run-on sentence or a comma splice?
It's a Roman sentence.
And how we can fix it? Let's see if we have choice.
Use a semicolon after place before it. Semicolon.
You will use a semicolon instead. Okay. Another suggestion?
And delete it.
Okay, the Middle Ages, the Street of London were dangerous.
So in that case, we need a coordinated conjunction, right?
Which one will you?
Semicolon, and we can add but it was safer to travel.
So I would say, like, in the Middle Ages, the Street of London were dangerous places. So it was safer to travel by both along the Thames, something like that.
Maybe, or can be a comma splice, just adding a semicolon and
instead.
it was safe.
Okay, or we can say this: in the Middle Ages, when the Street of London were dangerous places, it was safer to travel by boat along the Thames. Just adding when and keeping the commas. What do you think about that option?
Sounds better.
So we restructured the sentence. So there are different possibilities, as you mentioned, and that is why I'm asking you to come up with different options. Okay, so let's move on to number 4. He's not drunk, I said. He's in a state of diabetic shock. What do you think about that one? He's not drunk, I said. He's in a state of diabetic shock. And here you have to go back to grammar and remember direct and indirect speech. Now, how would you fix that one? He's not drunk. I said. Listen to the pause. He's in a state of diabetic shock. Because sometimes when we are writing, we think about the pauses, but we do not add the punctuation to our sentences. He's not drunk. I said he is in a state of diabetic shock. What do you think? Is it a comma what we are missing? Is it a period? Which of those two?
Period.
Exactly. It's a period.
After
So,
said.
correct. He's not drunk, I said. You can listen to the long pause. He's in a state of diabetic shock. Also, it is, even though it's not something 100% accurate, you can also read what you are writing and pay attention to the pauses that you are doing. At this point, probably that sixth sense is already in progress, right? So you can detect when you are going to need a comma, when you need a period. But of course, in case that you have any doubt regarding with the type of sentences and punctuation, there are additional resources in the journal forum. There you have one particular link that contains information about punctuation. So that will help you. So here we have. I said, period, he is in a state of diabetic shock. So So remember, there are no incorrect answers. Remember that we have different possibilities in order to fix a sentence that has a comma splice or a run-on, or if it is a run-on sentence. So let me have responses and we move on to another category, parallelism. You are very familiar with this. Parallelism has to do with having the correct structures. That means if we are using nouns in a list, we are going to use just nouns. If we are going to use verbs, just verbs. If we have a conjunction joining two elements, for example, we have a simple sentence, and that conjunction is linking another sentence, will be another simple sentence. Or if that conjunction has simple present sentence on one side, we must have a simple present sentence in another side. So keep that in mind. It's like having a mirror, that the structure that you have on one side must match with the structure that you have on the other side. So here, let's see, let's do this one together. Police dogs are used for finding lost children, tracking animals, and the detection of bombs and illegal drugs. What do you think here is the faulty parallelism? Look at this. Finding lost children, tracking criminals, and detection of bombs. Does it sound right to you? Come on, don't be afraid. Here we are learning, and when you are learning, you're allowed to make mistakes. And the more mistakes you make, the better, because you internalize the correct answers later.
Maybe we have to eliminate the words and be.
No, remember that we are talking about parallelism in here, Juan Carlos. That means that we must have the same structure when we are listing things. The police dogs, los perritos, right? They are used for finding lost children. Finding lost children. For tracking criminals. And detecting bombs and illegal drugs. That's right. And detecting. Because you are using gerunds as nouns, that means that you must have gerund, gerund, and gerund. Good. Now let's continue. Hannah told her rock climbing partner that she bought a new harness and of her desire to climb other cliff. What is the issue here? Hannah told her rock climbing partner that she bought a new harness. So we have past, we also have past, and we have sentences, right? Hannah told her rock climbing partner that she bought a new harness. And her desire to climb other cliff. Do you think it's nice? Is all right?
The use of comma.
We don't need a comma here.
After M, I don't know.
Remember that here we're talking about structures.
The past. Yes.
Okay, Hannah told her rock climbing partner that she got a new harness. We have past sentences there, right? And of her desire to climb other cliff. That last group of words do not match that easily, right? Of her desire to climb other cliff. How would you rewrite that? Hannah told her rock climbing partner that she bought a new harness, but she also mentioned something else, her desire to climb other cliff. So she wanted to do something. What does she want to do?
Climb.
So she wanted to climb other cliff. She wanted to climb. So Hannah told her rock climbing partner that she bought a new harness. So here we have a whole expression. Everything is in past. But we have a conjunction here. When we have a conjunction, we must make sure that the elements that conjunction is joining resemble. So it means we have past forms in here, and we have sentences there, but in here, her desire to climb other cliff, we have a fragment, so it does not match with the group of structures, right? So she wanted to climb. Another one, it is more difficult to sustain an exercise program than studying one. How do you fix that one?
Then start one.
Then to start, that start. Most difficult to sustain an exercise program than start one. Good. You have infinitive, so you must have another infinitive. What about number 4? During basic training, I was not only told what to do, but also what to think. How will you fix that one? Here we have parallel conjunctions or pair conjunctions. Not only, but also.
What to doing, but also what to thinking.
So I was, let me see. I was told not only what to do, but also what to think. That way? was told not only what to do, but also what to think. That was the right form? She wanted to climb. Good. So remember, parallelism is about having the same grammatical categories. If we are using nouns in a list, we are going to keep using nouns. If we are using verbs, we keep using verbs. If we are using simple present, we continue using simple present in all the sentences. If we are using simple past, the same. If we are using infinitives, we must keep using infinitives. And if we are using verb conjunctions, we must be sure that every conjunction has exactly the same grammatical categories next to it. I was told not only what to do, but also what to think. And this is the mirror, what to do, what to think. Okay, let's move. Misplaced modifiers. The garden centerpiece is a huge sculpture that was carved by 3 women who were walking in place. Sounds weird, right? Let's work together on this one. The garden centerpiece is a huge sculpture. What is the name of that sculpture?
In place.
The garden centerpiece is a huge sculpture. What's the name of that one, of that sculpture?
Working place, no.
You have to see this sentence as a puzzle, and you have to think about what is the modifier, and if it is placed in the right position in the sentence. So the garden's centerpiece is a huge sculpture. So we are talking about a huge sculpture, a big monument. And it was carved, that was carved by 3 women, called walking in place. We are talking about the name of the 3 women that sculpted that centerpiece, or are we talking about the name of the huge sculpture? The garden's centerpiece is a huge sculpture. So we are talking about the huge sculpture. And what's the name of that sculpture, according to the information that you have in the sentence?
The name is
Walking in place.
Walking in place.
Walking in place. So we are going to move it, right? The garden centerpiece is a huge sculpture called walking in place that was carved by 3 women. Good. You will see the answer in a moment. Here we have. So think about a puzzle. Your sentence, when we are identifying misplaced modifiers, your sentence is a puzzle. Now let's see number 2. It's shorter, so probably will be easier. The old man photo ads depicted a man on a horse smoking a cigarette. So who was smoking? Was it the man or the horse?
The man was smoking.
Yeah, the man is the one that is smoking, right?
Yeah, it is difficult to see a horse smoking.
Exactly, that's what you have to think. That is why it's awkward. Think about it. So the old Marlboro ads depicting a man on a horse smoking a cigarette. I cannot imagine the horse, right? So depicted a man smoking a cigarette on a horse. So the man was on the horse. Number 3, a cool hunter is a person who can find in the unnoticed corners of modern society the next way of fashion. So we're talking about the cool hunter. That cool hunter is looking for what? The unnoticed corners of modern society or the next wave of fashion?
The next way of fashion.
The next wave of fashion in the unnoticed.
The unnoticed corner.
Exactly. A cool hunter is a person who can find the next wave of fashion in the unnoticed corners of modern society. There we go. So a cool hunter is a person who can find the unnoticed corners. Good. Yes. That's right. Do not feel afraid to make mistakes. And here we are learning, and making mistakes is part of the process. So dangling modifiers. Though only 16, UCLA accepted Marta's application. Sounds weird, right? So here we have to pay attention to the words that are modifying someone here in the sentence. So, though only 16, UCLA accepted Marta's application. How we can fix that? Who was only 16 years old? UCLA or Marta?
Marta.
Marta's application.
Marta, that's right. Show responses. Here we are. Though Marta was only 16, LA accepted her application. About number 3, to replace the gear mechanism attached is a form to order the part by mail. In here we are missing something. To replace that mechanism, attach is a form to order the part by mail. We are missing something. You can use the attach form. You can use the attach form to order part by mail. What about number 3? After studying polymer chemistry, computer games seemed less complex to phone. I think that's how the name is pronounced, phone. So after studying polymer chemistry, computer games seemed less complex to phone. What do you think about that one? How we can fix it? So who was studying?
Maybe after studying polymer chemistry, foreign computer games seem less complex. I don't know.
Good. So just pay attention who is the person who's doing the action, who's performing the action in your sentence. Check the words that are supposed to modify its action. And then you will be ready to fix the sentence. Now we have distracting shifts. A courtroom lawyer has more than a touch of theater in their blood. How would you fix the first one? Maybe not just one courtroom lawyer. Maybe all of them. Here we have a courtroom lawyer, one, but we are talking about their blood. So there's an issue there. Courtroom lawyers. We have more than one because we are talking about their blood. After the animators finish their scenes, the production designer arranges the clips according to the storyboard. Synchronization notes must also be made for the sound editor and the composer. What do you think about that one? Sounds weird, right? After the animators finish their scenes, the production designers arrange the clips according to the storyboard, and we are missing something here. Makes synchronization notes. Number 3. And makes. Madame Defarge is a sinister figure in Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. On a symbolic level, she represents fate, like the Greek fates. She needed the fabric of individual destiny. What do you think is the distracting shift in here? We're talking in simple present. It's a sinister figure. On a symbolic level, she represents fate, like the Greek fates. What does she do? She knits. It's a sinister figure. She represents fate. She knits the fabric of individual destiny. That is a distracting shift. Choppy sentences. In here we have chunks. There are several sentences, but they are just chunk, chunk, chunk. Same structure, one after another, period, period, period. Those are choppy sentences. Many of you tend to do this kind of writing, by the way. So how do we fix a choppy sentence? Elephants are big. They live in Africa and Asia. They eat a lot of food. How do we make it a flawless sentence? How make it smoothly and easy to read? What about elephants?
Elephants are big, comma. They live in Africa and Asia.
Okay, elephants are big animals that eat a lot of food. And live in Africa, Asia. No. Show the responses. Elephants are big animals that eat a lot of food and live in Asia. What about this? Phil is a thrill seeker. He enjoys skydiving and bungee jumping. He goes every chance he gets. So we can keep the first part, Phil. Phil is a thrill seeker. What do you use? A comma or a period after that? Since Phil is a thrill seeker, comma, period.
Comma.
Comma, he enjoys skydiving, bungee jumping, every chance he gets. What about the other one, the third one? I hate housework. Housework is very boring. It takes too much time. I especially dislike mopping the floor and ironing. Okay, main idea here is that she hates or he hates housework. In particular, especially, mopping the floor. Why is it boring? Or why is that she hates it? Because it is. What you have to do with when you have these choppy sentences is that you combine the ideas. You add words like especially, because. And then we have stringy sentences. So here it's easy. The students from Marhill School visited the school, and it was in Toronto, and this is the largest zoo. What I will do is that I will leave. The students from Marhill School visited the school. Students from Marshall School visited the zoo in Toronto. I will add comma, the largest zoo in Canada. I close the comma. Or instead I use a period and then add, they travel there by bus to arrive at the zoo. Or they took a 2-hour bus ride to arrive at the zoo. The second one, the boys were too excited, so they made a lot of mistakes. So the project was a complete failure in the end, so the teacher gave them a D. will show you the response here. With number 2, it's easier because we can correct by using a subordinating conjunction, then the dependent clause, and separate the sentence. And the last one, everyone came to the party. And I stopped sharing my So everyone came to the party and they have a great time. And there was plenty of food, including a giant cake, and the drinks that were amazing. And one of the possible choices could be everyone came to the party and had a great time. There was plenty of food, including a giant cake. The drinks were amazing too. Most people have fun dancing. Great, right? Okay, I want to take a couple of minutes because we're about to finish. We're not going to have the chance to practice with the journal writing too. But if you want, we can have a session, even though your vacation is coming. But as you wish, so you let me know later. Formatting. We are having issues with the heading. It means the very beginning of your paper when you are going to write your name, the date, and the name of the subject. Many of you are placing it on the right side, and we need to line that text to the left. Then the first line of your paragraph must be indented, like this in the example. Second, number the sentences. You are not numbering sentences. We are just typing, and there are not numbers at the end of the sentence as it is in here. Also, the line spacing, 2.0. And you are not adding that feature to your text. Talking about content, you are numbering phrases. What we are expecting is that you number sentences, full sentences. Sometimes I found a week ago number as sentence 1. So that is a phrase. So phrases were numbered as sentences. That is not correct. Then I found a block of sentences. A paragraph is a group of sentences that are one after another. And they are movies mostly and other features. But some of you are presenting 3 sentences, big space, another block of 3 sentences, big space. That can happen. Your paragraph must be a whole group of sentences. We are not adding spaces. We are not separating the group of sentences. Also, I found one paperwork that it has a list of sentences like, I love my dog, sentence 1. Sentence 2, my dog's name is Suavecito. My dog has lived in my family for over 10 years. Another sentence. No, it's not a list of sentences either. It's a group of sentences that are joined together by conjunctions, by phrases, clauses, and other different expressions. Compound and complex sentences are not appearing. Neither compound, complex. And I have found some papers that have more than 8 sentences. Right now, we are expecting from 6 to 8 sentences so that we make sure that you comply with a well-done paragraph. And I have also found essays instead of paragraph. Literally, I have found paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. What we want to reinforce here is that you must work on one single paragraph, no more than that, because we want you to pay attention to the sentence structure of that paragraph. That's why we only want from 6 to 8 sentences. So the minimum will be 6. And please read the guidelines for the assignment. I have noticed that some of you are not reading the guidelines because you're doing whatever you want to do with the paper. You're not using the font, you're not using the font size, you're not using the number sentence, you are not following the requirements for the line spacing. So please read those guidelines. And if you have any question regarding that, let me know. We are not going to do this because of the time, but the topics for journal entry 2 are already there. So I have seen that 3 students have already submitted. So if one of the mistakes that I mentioned here, it is in your entry 2, please fix it because you still have time to check and correct. And we're not going to do this. Here, reminders. Self-evaluation 2 will be available until 11:55 p.m. today, so you can take it a third time if you haven't. Please watch the videos. If you watch the videos, you will have the access to take the self-evaluation 2. We are going to have a period of vacation from April 10th to Monday the 18th, but it doesn't mean that you are going to actually take vacation, because I know that probably you will have assignments from other subjects and everything. And of course, you will also have the third entry, right? That you must start working on it. And well, we'll see you on workshop 3, which is going to be held on April the 30th at the same hour. And you will have a quiz. That quiz will be on May the 6th. And we will cover the topics that you have studied in workshops 1, 2, and 3. So if there is any question, if you have any doubt regarding the assignments, the upcoming activities, please let me know. Send a message, post a question in the forums, and please, for entry number 3, keep in mind that we are going to assess sentence errors. We have presented in the guidelines 2 rubrics, one for entries 1 and 2, and there is another rubric which is going to be for entry number 3, and that one contains sentence error. Right now I'm checking sentence error, but I'm not being that strict on decreasing points due to that. But of course, you are going to find that you are writing too stringent sentences, that you are using the English modifiers. But please, for entry number 3, make sure that you are checking sentences errors there, that you are trying to proofread that before submitting. So keep it short, from 6 to 8 sentences. Do not separate them in blocks. Keep them as a whole. Questions, comments, something that you want to let us know before leaving? So no questions?